All right, what is up, you guys? It is your boy HamzaConnection coming at you live. Well, I'm just still psyched about me being in the studio and recording with this amazing mic. I am super excited because I'm looking around in my surrounding. It's like, fuck, man, I'm in a studio. I'm in a fucking studio doing a podcast episode. Like, who would have thought that? Who would have ever thought that I would get access to this shit? And holy shit, this just goes to show you that, hey, leverage your connection, all of that stuff, and make the best use of what you have. And shit, man, I am so glad that I thought about this idea because I've been working here for almost 2 years, and finally I did it now. So I'm like, why didn't I do this earlier? But I guess this is my journey, and hence the podcast name, The Journey. So that's what I kind of learned. But if you watched the previous episode, yes, I was psyched about the mic as well. I probably used a couple minutes talking about how awesome this mic is, and I probably will do in the next 5 episodes and all that stuff because I get hyped using my weekends on at work in the studio recording my podcast episode. I am super fucking happy right now. And if you could see the smile on my face right now, you'd be like, holy shit. That's a happy guy. But anyway, the last episode, I talked about that I wanted to reshoot a lot of my previous episodes. And the one that I'm reshooting right now is going to be how should you invest your time in your 20s. So let me just go straight ahead and talk about basically society standards, because basically, you go to school, you get an education, after that, you get a job and all of that stuff, and you're supposed to, there is this expectation that you're supposed to know what you want to study, know what you want to be when you grow up and all of that stuff, take the proper education, get the job, and after that, probably get a girlfriend, and then get married, and then have kids and all of that stuff. And it seems like this expectation is that you're supposed to have everything figured out in your 20s. And by the way, you guys, I'm 26 years old, so I am in my 20s in a way, closer to 30 than 20s. Getting old. But anyway, what I want to tell you guys is that being through all of that stuff and that expectations is when I look at people around me, because the people that I work with, sorry if you guys are watching, but they are much older than I am. They're in their 30s or 40s and stuff like that, and they have kids and all of that stuff. And I'm not really at that stage yet. So, when I look at people, it doesn't seem like everybody got their life figured out. Actually, the majority doesn't. It's I don't see anyone who's really, really, it seems like people are just going with the times, and not just I'm not talking about specifically people at my work. I'm talking about just in general. Because I don't sense that people have it all figured out. Now I'm working at a huge company that I'm working with lots of big clients and all of that stuff that's making millions of Danish kroners and dollars and all of that stuff. And even these big companies, when I was a little startup and I was like, shit, I don't have anything figured out and all that stuff. I have no idea how to do this. I realized big companies don't have it all figured out. It's all a facade. And what I'm trying to illustrate with this point is that it's the facade. You see these big companies, you see Nike, you see all of these companies, and it seems like they have it all figured out. But really, under the hood, they don't. They're just as confused as you and I. And a lot of the time, they mess up their processes. They have no idea what the next step is. They have no idea what they want. They have no idea. They're just going with the wind sometimes. Obviously not totally. Sometimes they have a plan. Sometimes they have this and all of that stuff. But they are adapting and changing as time passes by. So they don't have this ultimate master plan that they just follow to the teeth. It's I haven't seen that at least yet. So the same thing with your life. When you're in your 20s, it's you're not, there's this expectations that you are supposed to have your life figured out, and that's not really the case. And And as like one of the guys that really inspiring to me is Gary Vaynerchuk. And he talks about like, be patient, man. And you have time. You're in your 20s. You have time. Like, average life expectancy, I know, like, at least here in Denmark, I think it's around like 75 years old for males. And I can't remember the women. I think it's like a 1 or 2 years older. So 78 maybe, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on this. Go Google. But yeah. So if you're in your 20s, that's like almost 1/3 of your life. So you got time, man. You got time. The most important thing here is, and this is how I believe you should spend your 20s, based on my experience this far with my life. And that might change and all of that stuff. But right now, I believe that it's super important for you in your 20s and all that stuff to find yourself, to go ahead and try a bunch of different stuff, man. Like, you guys don't want to know how many fucking businesses I failed. And like, I didn't always want it to be like, I didn't think about myself as an entrepreneur when I was a little kid. I knew I always wanted to make a lot of money. I knew I always wanted to make, like, have a big influence and all that stuff, but I never knew exactly how it would come to fruition. And the thing here is, like, there are a lot of things that changed. Like, I tried this and I tried that, and so many businesses I started that failed and all of that stuff. And so many things and that I wanted to study that I realized, okay, this is fucking boring. Like, why do I study this? Like, this is not what I went into, what I expect and all that stuff. And that's good. That's good, especially with education, man. It's like, you nowadays, if you want to become a programmer, I don't recommend you go and right now I have like a little bit of experience in that because my educational background is programming. So and I was like an intern programmer for half a year or so. So I know a little bit what I'm talking about, but I would recommend you, if you really want to know, hey, is programming for you? Then go on the web and actually search programming, and then realize like you will be able to see just on YouTube, there's a bunch of people making tutorials and all that stuff. Go follow those tutorials. Go look up the things that you don't understand, and then see, is it funny? Is it not? And then realize, like, don't just judge it from one perspective. Like, look at it as, okay, there's something called a front ender. What the fuck is a front ender? Google on YouTube or something. Like, what the fuck is a front ender? Probably not what the fuck, but say, like, what is a front ender? What is a back ender? What is a IT architect? What is like all of that stuff? What is quality assurance? And all of that stuff. And then you realize, like, okay, what do they do based on the job description and based on you actually doing a little bit of their shit? And then you can see, is this boring? Is this not boring? And then you try it. You get a sense of it. I'm not telling you to choose after you've done that. This is just an example. It applies to everything. Like, you could do it with basketball as well and stuff like that. Go ahead, try and play basketball. Do you like it? Don't you like it? And all that stuff. So go through and try various different things. It's like what I told to my brother when he was like, he told me, like, I have no fucking clue of what I need to do in life. And I gave him this advice. I told him, like, right now, because it was after ninth grade, and then he had to choose, like, high school and all that stuff. I told him this. I told him, like, right now, you're trying to, like, imagine that you have never seen ice cream before. And there's different flavors of ice cream, right? You have never tried any of them. So right now, I'm asking you, you can only eat one kind of ice cream. Like, either it's chocolate or vanilla or something. Like, only one kind of ice cream for the rest of your life. And you can never touch all the others. Which one would you choose? And he was like, I have no idea. Because he has never tried any of those ice cream. I told him, like, to imagine. You never tried any of the ice cream. Like, how would you choose and actually really choose one you really like if you haven't tried it? You have to go ahead and try tasting the various different kinds of ice cream. And then you, based on that. So I'm not saying, like, but you're not totally lost. Because the thing here is, just like as a job, when you want to know, like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life, you can sort of see, like, in the trajectory, Like, what are you looking for? Like, for instance, on ice cream, you can look at colors. You can look at the color. Okay, chocolate is dark color. Oh, I like the light colors. Oh, that already excludes like so many different kinds of ice cream because those are dark colored. And then you go for the light colors one. Oh, vanilla looks really good. And then you taste that. And then you realize, okay, that probably wasn't a good color to taste and all of that stuff because that didn't taste that good. And then you try something like, I want something with more color. And then you go and try rainbow, or you try strawberry or something like that. And then after that, you sort of get a sense of which kind of ice cream you like after you tried a couple. Now, I'm not saying you should try every single kind of ice cream in the world to know what you want, because that would take you like super long. Again, you have patience, but it takes you a long time to do that. I'm just saying, get a little sample, get a little overview of the various different kinds. And this is a metaphor because you can use this when you're searching for like a job or whatever you want to do in your life. Like, do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want to have a job? Do you want to work at IT? Do you want to work at health insurance? Do you want to be a salesman? Do you want to, like, what do you want? And that's the thing. You look at it like that and you try and taste and go ahead and try a bunch of different stuff. That is probably my number one biggest advice that I can give you guys. Like, go ahead and try a bunch of different stuff in your 20s. And don't be like, oh, fuck, man, I'm wasting my time. Because here's the thing. I thought for myself that I was wasting my time in my 20s if I tried a bunch of different stuff because I couldn't really commit to one thing. Like, if you find that thing early on, commit to it. I'm not saying, like, don't commit to it. If you find something you really, really fucking enjoy and you love it and all that stuff and you have dreams and aspirations, like, for instance, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He wanted to be a bodybuilder at a very, very young age. And he committed, and 10 years of mastery, or whatever you can call it, he became Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he did so amazingly. And because he started so early and dedicated his sole focus on bodybuilding, he just blew out the competition. And that's one way of doing it. Like, for instance, Michael Jackson, he was dancing when he was like, I think it was 6 years old. He was practicing. Like, of course, like when he's 16, he's going to have 10 years of experience. And that's crazy. Like, that's fucking crazy. And then, of course, you're going to be like a really great ass dancer when you're like 19 if you started at 6 years old and you practice consistently and all of that stuff. So once you find that thing, then dedicate to it. Dedicate yourself to it. And then become good at it. Like, master that fucking skill. And you will be fucking successful, especially like financially, when you master something that you really love and you do something that you really love doing. Because when you do something that you really love doing, it doesn't feel as much as work. Like for me, for instance, right now, I'm recording podcast episode. It's the fucking weekend. It's fucking in the afternoon. People probably like watching a movie or doing something else on their Saturday and Sundays and stuff like that. And I'm here at work fucking recording podcast episode, which I think is fucking awesome in the studio now that I'm reminding myself about it. But I like it. This doesn't feel like work. Yes, there are some things, like sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. Like, I don't feel like I want to script my thing, so I just go off the cuff and just talk. But that's the thing that I like to do. I don't feel like, oh man, I got to do the search engine SEO and all of the stuff. It's like, that's not the thing. Like, sometimes it can feel like work, but still, then I remember, why am I doing it? And then I remember, yeah, I want to have my own podcast episode. I always dreamt about this when I was a little kid. I always wanted to do this. And this is my chance to like keep on trying it and doing it and all of that stuff and delivering these things that I've learned throughout my youth and throughout my life, actually, to you guys. So most probably you can like benefit from him and learn from him. So what I'm saying is, you got time. It's the thing here is, the worst thing is to spend so much time on doing something you don't like on a daily basis, because you have one life, man. You have one life. Why the fuck would you spend your time doing something that you don't really like? I'm not saying that you should not go get a job to get some money and the job has to be something that you're passionate about. I'm not saying that, like, don't do that, because sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to do that. But I'm saying, figure out what you want, because then it's much easier for you in the long run to go towards what you want, because then you have more clarity and then you know where you want to go, because then you know, hey, if you want to be a bodybuilder, then you're probably shouldn't eat shitty food and do lots of drugs and all that stuff, because that's gonna be, and when I say drugs, I mean like, drugs that can hurt you and all that stuff. If you want to do that, or if you want to be a singer, you should probably spend some time like doing vocal exercise and all that stuff. But if you don't know what you want to be, you have no way of filtering out what's right and what's wrong for you. Once you know your destination, you can start excluding everything around you and focus on getting to that destination. And that's where the speed comes from, because you can be a ship just going in the ocean, random location, all of that stuff, and maybe you reach your destination by luck, maybe you don't. Or you can have a clear set path that you want to go, like figuring out that path, and then you can sail the ship directly to that path and go towards that path. But it's not that easy to figure out the path. Like, that's a journey in itself. And I'm just saying, don't fucking stress too much about it when you're in your 20s, because you will have it figured out. Focus on experiencing a lot of different shit, because then you have something to choose from. Remember the ice cream example. You never tasted ice cream before and you had to choose one flavor to be with your entire life. How the fuck would you choose? Like, you would have no fucking clue. You would not be able to take a proper choice. And that's what I'm telling you guys. Go ahead, try a bunch of different things, experiment. And once you find something that you really, really love and you can sense it in yourself, I'm good at this shit, I like it, this is fun and all of that stuff, then you can commit, and then you can focus on, hey, building a life around becoming great at that thing and doing that thing and maximizing your time doing that thing, because you will love it and it will feel amazing. And trust me, I'm talking about experience. Like, when I was doing the eBay business, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, always wanted to do those kind of things. And I worked like 14 hours a day and all that stuff. It was fucking hard. I learned a lot of shit back then and all of that stuff. But it was like a lot, like a big, how do you say? It was like soul fulfilling for me, because I knew I'm doing the things that I love doing. So I was fulfilled. I was so fucking happy. Like, even though it was fucking hard and all of the stuff, and I just wanted to quit sometimes, like, what made me get through and all of that stuff was actually that I love it. It's my dream and all of that stuff. And as I said earlier, you have one life. So go for what you want. And that is it for this podcast episode. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more of this kind of stuff, then this is the Journey Podcast, where I share my journey through my entrepreneur journey and all of that stuff, like health, wealth, love, and happiness with you guys. And you can probably learn something from it or listen to it for the entertainment value. But either way, if you like what you heard here, hit the like button. And if you want to hear more, then hit the subscribe button. And if you have a topic that you want me to talk about or some questions that you want me to answer, hit me down in the comment section below. I try to answer everything, but at some point, hopefully this podcast will take off and grow, and I will not be able to answer everything. But right now, I can answer everything. I can manage that. So, that was it. Peace.